The fastest trick to reprogram your subconscious mind is very easy. There's only one thing you need to do and one thing you need to know, and that's that you become what you think about most of the time. When you truly understand this, that what you think about most of the time is going to reflect in your life, in what you do, in your mood, in your experiences, right? If your life is a reflection of what you think most of the time, then it becomes very simple. All you need to do is to start thinking differently. Is to take an honest look at how am I thinking most of the time? What is the content, the quality of my thought? And how aligned or not is it toward the goal, the desire, the life that I want to have? Because if you want to have a happy life, right? Let's say you just want to be happy, you want to be content, you want to be fulfilled, but most of your thoughts are stressful, anxious, are worried, are judgmental. It doesn't make any sense. Like, it's obvious why you feel a certain way or why the quality of your life is what it is, right? Now, the biggest mistake that people make is that when my life situation and circumstances, like when things in my life align in a certain way, then I will feel happy, then I will feel fulfilled, then I will be okay. Then I start to think all those beautiful thoughts. Yeah, that's the ego greatest game, is that when I get it, then I'll get the reward. And so we're always chasing that carrot, we're always chasing the next goal, the next person, the next situation, the next thing that will bring me the happiness, the peace, the freedom, the fulfillment, the whatever it is that the ego is getting you to chase. But if you want to reverse that game, if you want to stop the chasing, the endless worry, the endless anxiety, if you want to take control of your life, the only thing you can take control of is what you think, how you feel, and what you do. And to align what you feel and what you do, you gotta start thinking in a certain way. Because your life, again, is mostly a reflection of all the thought that you have. So if you look at, we're in August 2025, that's the moment I'm making this video. So in the last 8 months of this year, if you take an honest look at your life, what was the quality of the thought that you have most of the time? Like, seriously, right? If you look day by day, week by week, month by month, what is it that you think most of the time? And if you take an honest guess, are you thinking mostly negatively, mostly anxious thoughts, mostly random, useless thoughts? Or are you conscious, focused, thinking greater thought, new thought, creative thought that allow you to move in the direction of what you want to create? And for a vast majority of people, it's the same thought they had last year. It's the same excuses. It's the same procrastination. It's the same word. It's the same way they used to relate to life, to people, to the economy, to themselves, and so on. And so they wonder, why is life just keep on going the same way? And I see that in my own life, despite all the effort I put into thinking differently, to breaking old belief, into just being aware. There's still so many times when I go completely unconscious, when I check out and when I need to wake up and pay attention and go back. And that's okay, that's normal, that's the progress. But when I work with my clients, what I always listen is the subconscious way they have to describe things, the subconscious word, the subconscious phrases, the subconscious belief that they just keep on giving me all the time. And when I pick up on them, then I can start reframing them. Then we can start getting rid of certain keywords, certain expressions, certain words that are emotionally charged, that create a certain perception, that lead them toward creating certain outcomes. I'll give you one example that was really fascinating. Is I had a client where everything was, it's hard, man, right? He had this way of explaining everything, like, you know what, it's hard, man. Like, I want to go, grow my business. I want to reach out to more people. I want to do all those things, but it's hard, man. It's hard, man. It's hard. That was like a key word, a key sentence that was so emotionally charged. So his perception of life, or working, or doing certain things, waking up earlier, reading more books, whatever he wanted to do, everything was tainted by it's hard. And when everything is hard, everything feels like a chore, right? You can see how much struggle there is in going, because there's only so much hard things you want to do in a day. So one thing I made him do is a list of all the things that are hard to do. And man, he made a list, a freaking long list, because he realized that, holy shit, like, I feel like everything is hard to do. Even the simplest things that are not hard, I make them hard. And so I told him, like, you gotta ban that word, you gotta get rid of the word, you gotta become aware of every time it comes up, replace it. So I said, like, just start saying it's easy, or I can do it, whatever works for you, something else, right? But start replacing the word, start giving yourself the possibility that, you know what if I make this and it's easy, or it's enjoyable, or I can do it, or it's not a big deal? And man, that simple thing had such a deep impact in his life, because it was like one big belief, one big lens, one big way of, like framing his own reality just broke. And he replaced it with something else, which brought a lightness, which brought an ease, which created a new momentum of doing things, enjoying things, like dropping the heaviness, the pressure, and so on. So you can see how we create our perception through our thoughts, through our repetitive belief and assumption and so on, that we often never question, we never doubt, we just think they're real. Because what is a belief? A belief is simply a thought that you repeated or heard enough time with enough certainty that you feel like, well, that's the way it is. And so your subconscious mind takes it, and then it's impressed, and then it's expressed in your world, in your experience, in your feeling. So how do you start replacing those beliefs? Well, first you need to know, what do I want? Like, this is my life, this is where I am, it's okay, accept where you are, and then ask yourself, what do I want instead? What are the goals, the direction? People without a vision perish. That's what they say in the Bible, right? So if you don't have a vision for your future, how are you ever going to get there? It's like you have a GPS and you don't know where you're going. So your subconscious mind is going to input whatever is programmed in it. So you need to have clarity. Clarity is power toward, what do I really want? And then start to ask yourself, okay, what are the thoughts, what are the beliefs, what are the thinking, the excuses I make that are blocking me toward getting there? Some famous one is, it's too expensive, I don't have the money, I don't know how. Right? Those are some very classic examples of excuses. And I know, because I have them as well when I start new things, when I do different things, right? So we have a certain way of thinking toward things that limits us, that prevents us. But what if you start replacing those with new thoughts? I had a client, she had a business, right? Hairdresser, successful business, and something happened that made the business tank, and things were starting to stagnate, right? She had a okay client base and so on, but she was struggling to attract new clients and to retain them as clients, like returning clients to get haircuts and stuff, right? And the business was that, I'm not gonna make it, I'm not gonna make it, I'm not gonna make it. That was like all kind of variation of thoughts that was like, I'm not gonna make it. And so she had so much anxiety, so much stress. She was struggling to sleep at night. She was coming into the business, like in the past, she would talk to people, she would entertain them, she would like that social aspect of her job, of her business. But because she was so anxious, she was, that energy was contagious. People were not enjoying energy, it was basically becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy for her. And you see, because the results were not following, it was just reinforcing that thought and that feeling. So the biggest thing she had to do is to create a space in her mind to notice, holy shit, I'm thinking that way, and so I'm feeling that way, and so I'm creating that in my life. So I need to start creating space for something greater in my thought first. I need to start to be able to visualize my business thriving again, me enjoying this conversation, right? And me making it. So we created certain thoughts, certain mantra, certain thought that she can anchor herself throughout the day, so that she can start, feeling lighter and so on. And that, with repetition, along with some other deep work we've been doing and so on, changed completely her state. Not the situation, not the marketing, not what she was doing aside to attract more clients, but her state, her energy. She started to do that. She started showing up differently. Her energy started to become more contagious in a positive way, and the business started picking up again. So you become what you think about most of the time. And so if you want to impress your subconscious mind with something new, you need repetition, repetition, repetition. That's the only thing you need to understand that what I think about, what I imagine in my mind, because mental pictures are also a form of thoughts, right? Get impressed in my mind, and the more I see them, the more familiar they get, the more it becomes a belief, and the more automatic that new way of thinking happens. Neurons that fire together, wire together. That's what neuroscience will tell you. So repetition is the key. Now, I'm not going to tell you what you need to think about. That's for you to decide. You have to start creating novelty of thoughts in your mind. That's why I tell you, look at your life. Where are you envious, judgmental, bitter? Like, where do you have thoughts that are taking away that precious energy that you have? Thoughts that are making you anxious, that are making you angry, that are making you whatever, that are not feeding and creating the life that you want. That's where you need to detox, clean the house, get rid of it, if you want to. And then you need to start asking yourself, okay, how do I need to start thinking greater? What is a greater step? What is a higher level of consciousness, of mind for me to start thinking along the base. Write them down, like brainstorm, write them down, make them your own, and over time just rehearse them, expand them, become more, and they will slowly but surely get anchored in your own consciousness, and you will start to see how you think differently. You will start to see that when you change your perception of the world will change, even though it didn't before. But the way you relate to people, to the world, to the economy, to the opportunity, what you're able to see, perceive, attract in your life, start to change, because you have changed and you've opened the door for something new to find you in your life. So remember, you become what you think about most of the time, and that is the only trick you need to know, is that repetition is how I impress my mind, and my mind is always listening to my inner conversation and to my inner feelings. So it doesn't matter, you cannot cheat your mind. Your mind always listens, your subconscious mind always listens to your inner conversation and your inner feelings, and it gets impressed with that, and then it gets expressed in your own life. So think greater and life will become greater. Let me know what you think down in the comment. Hit that subscribe button. I will see you next time. Be well.